Chapter 364 was the last chapter of Kentaro Miura's Berserk, being released a few months after his tragic passing. 364 was a hard spot to leave off on. While this chapter felt like the perfect send-off to Miura's life work, in other ways the series was of course unresolved. A story 30 plus years in the making was now left to the wind. Of course the question was asked, what comes next? On June 7, 2022, it was announced Berserk would be returning. Studio Gaga, the studio Miura left behind, would be the ones continuing the story, all alongside a name many fans may not have been familiar with, Koji Mori. Koji Mori is the one essential to this, as Miura personally told him the in-depth story and ending of Berserk. Mori was a lifetime friend of Miura's, starting a friendship at 15 that would blossom into 40 years. They were amazing friends to say the least. And so it made tons of sense when Mori revealed he was taking up the project. Miura's assistants had long proved themselves, many having worked with him for years on the series already. And Mori too, unknown to many, had long proved himself. Berserk actually wouldn't be the first manga he worked on. Mori had a good few serializations under his belt. He was a person who more than understood the world of manga. And while you can debate his skills as much as you want, there was truly no better person to take the reins. Even then, people were unsure, and it's more than understandable. But I loved the message Mori responded with so much. Paraphrasing, he stated things like, he knows he can't make a perfect story, but due to his closeness with Miura, he can't neglect the story his close friend wanted to finish. But with this, of course, my video today is going to be diving into this new saga of Berserk. It'll be the final video in this huge Berserk video series I've been doing, where I look into the series in depth for no reason other than I love it. And so get a snack, get cozy, and enjoy the video. It was quite an emotional ride for me. Thank you for watching, and see you there. Chapter 364 ended with the Moonlight Boy transforming back into his other self, Griffith, leaving him standing before Guts and Casca, the likes of which each look at this moment differently. Guts, of course, it's anger, rage, everything horrendous is what Griffith is to him, though Casca, she has no memories of that day, and facing Griffith, her mind is likely to break once again. Since regaining herself, facing Guts and the idea of Griffith has been impossible. Now flipping the page into the next chapter, all magical creatures of Elfhelm sense something wrong at once. Something, not a person, a fearsome being, whatever it is, it's here. Shirka too is awoken, standing up behind Casca as she runs out the door. She looks out to see Griffith, a being she may have never met, but more than knows of due to her witch status and journey with Guts. His presence is depicted like a whirlwind, leaving her struck with fear. Casca's brand gushes blood as the memories of the eclipse and many otherworldly encounters rush her mind. The mental and physical pain shatter her. Her eyes go blank, tears well up, she covers her ears, all as she lets out a deathly screech of terror. Finally, Guts angers. Faster than ever before, the Beast of Darkness goes to overtake. He shakes in anger as he stomps forward, all as he dashes towards the light-haired man surrounded by darkness. He screams Griffith in a tone fitting a demon as he brings his sword down. Yet it goes right through him. Griffith didn't even bother to move. Nothing changed. The sword simply phased right through his being. Guts is shocked. He goes in for another swing. It's the same result. While in the moment he hasn't processed it, the truth is clear to us. The entire journey he's been on, the lifetime of pain he's felt, and all the training and fighting he's done, it's still nothing to Griffith. In the most sadistic way possible, Griffith stands there, appearing like a true angel as he turns around with a sinister smile. It would seem he wanted Guts to come to the conclusion we just did. Guts truly can't touch him, his mortal enemy, yet Guts summons everything for one final swing, and as the sword comes down, it hits nothing once again. We cut to Shirka viewing Griffith from the astral world, Again, it's a whirlwind of energy, a vortex of havoc. And it's then Farnese grabs her teacher. She can't go near it. It will suck everything in. And as they return to the real world, they view Guts before them, panting like a beast in pure fury. The horror is far from over though. Zod lands from the skies. He too has found a way into Elfhelm, a passage unlocked due to Griffith finding his own way onto the magical island. Guts knows he'll have to face Zod once again. The beast is like the gate protecting Griffith, and so with no hesitation, he jumps into fight. While Guts is certainly drawing its power, he's not actually consumed by the beasts of darkness. He is by all means using his power right, mastering it more and more. Though on the contrary, we actually got a single panel of Griffith reacting to the armor, and if I had to say, he seemed tense and noted it as something to look out for. To me, this implies that if Guts was truly to let go, let himself be fully consumed by the armor, then he might have a chance against Griffith. Yet the cost of this is something we know too well, that being his precious things, his family and friends. More of our cast become aware of the happenings on the island, especially Danan, its ruler. She falls, breaking down completely in panic, all as we switch to Griffith now approaching Shirka, Farnese, and Casca. Guts sees this and moves faster than ever before, outrunning even Zod in an attempt to fight Griffith. He brings his sword down in unfathomable anger, yet pushing away everything just by the shockwave. Yet to Griffith, the blade simply rests on his shoulder, as if it was never swung at all. A sight that leaves Guts mortified. He seems to finally get it. Nothing he does is going to damage Griffith. Everything up to now, if it was truly to face Griffith again, he has failed. And as the wind soars across the land, as the earth crumbles, and as everyone is brought to their knees, Griffith stands with Casca. He's won. Guts has failed and Elfhelm has fallen, all while Griffith takes the broken woman into his arms. In an instant, the island is crumbled and become enveloped into dark demonic sludge. It threatens everyone in sight, and it would seem Skull Knight knows exactly what is up. Griffith and the World Tree passage he opened has flashed upon the island. It's left a wedge causing a rift, allowing the deep layers of the astral world to invade. Skull Knight cleaves away space to destroy the sludge, all as he demands they run. There is no hope to save all. Ishidro can't believe it, but of course he can't sneak off, he'll fight, leaving Skull Knight with the thought to oppose it all is only human. On the shore, Roderick is rushed to the ship. The land rumbles and the shore too is covered in dark sludge that eat all. And as he panics about what has happened to everyone, we cut to one of the most impacted in this moment, Guts. Surrounded by the sludge, he couldn't care. His eyes are more focused on one thing, his hope. His hope is being carried away by the one thing he hates the most. He's never been so pale. He's never seen anything so bad. His eyes are the most panicked they've ever been, and all he can muster up is his arm reaching out one final time. A second that feels like hours, all before Griffith disappears into the World Tree. Guts has lost the will to oppose. As Skull Knight said, the will to oppose is only human, and Guts no longer even has that. He is truly falling apart at the seams. Puck watches all from the sky. The island is not only crumbling, but it's literally being torn out of their realm. Despite this, Guts won't move. He hears everyone call for him, but he will only clutch his sword in despair. Not a single swing worked. He holds his head to the blade as the island collapses, a sight Skull Knight watches from far off. Like that, it's gone. The magical barrier separating Elfhelm from everything has been broke. The chaos subsides with this, but the true nightmare is just beginning. As Danan begins to glow and Isma begins to change, it becoming clear it's time for them to depart from this world. All the magical creatures of Elfhelm disappear before their eyes, a cloud of light dissolving into the night sky. All that remains are those grounded in the physical plane, a small rocky mound of land, and Guts. fallen to his knees and his head against the blade. This choice here is pretty shaky in my opinion. Again, I'm not here to hate, I'm not here to compare, I'm here to love Berserk, and I love Berserk a lot. I just think that if I want to look at this story, I can't just look at the good, so I'm going to look at something that is pretty bad in my opinion. What Griffith has done here was arrive at Elfhelm to destroy the anchor holding it to the physical plane. The anchor being the big cherry tree in the center of the island. Griffith destroying this makes sense, as it's a magical place with tons of magical adversaries that could hurt him. Also, Elfhelm is a different place than what the rest of the world basically is, so when Griffith destroys the anchor, well, it falls all the way back into the astral realm. It is not physically perceivable anymore. And therefore, I guess all the creatures go along with it. Meaning we likely won't see Isma, Danan, or anyone else important from here. They've effectively been written out of the story. Still, magical creatures very essential to the cast, like Puck and Ivalera, exist. They're fine after this. And while we get a simple little explanation why, it's basically that because they've been away from Elfhelm for the longest, they're okay. But then I ask, why did Isma disappear? She was literally there as long as them. If anything, Puck and Ivalera have been there more in their lives. This situation turns to the obvious. It was to write characters out. Ones that seemed to be not as important. Except, I provide you, Danan. She was implied to be extremely important. It's just a choice I'm not a fan of. But one other thing I really love here is Guts' sword and Griffith. I think it is so very well thought out to effectively make Griffith's power the ability to just push away space, and changing where things strike him and how. It's a pretty cool power. Of course, this played a perfect role with him being able to redirect Skull Knight's strike to kill Ganishka, setting up the world he wants to bring forward, but it also goes against his personal moral enemy as well, Guts. Guts is a swordsman, he lives and dies by his blade, and so it makes sense Griffith's power not only works plot-wise, but it's the perfect weapon for him and Guts' dynamic. As I implied earlier, it seems Guts can really only have a chance to hurt Griffith if he's all in. Otherwise, his sword will just continue to fail. And this keeps up the idea the series has tried to follow perfectly. Guts must choose his precious things or the path of vengeance. And it would seem, when it comes to this dilemma, he is at a breaking point. Rain pours down and the sea is still in disarray as the survivors float on board Roderick's ship. Everyone is in panic, especially Farnese, who cries out that she could do nothing for anyone, and while normally someone would comfort her, the scene stays quiet, telling us that they all indeed feel the same. This whole situation, it was a catastrophic failure. It's then Morta appears, grabbing Farnese because she needs her healing magic. This is something only she can do. It's then revealed by the witch that they found Guts and only Guts. Casca is still missing. But most alarmingly, Guts isn't right. Morta describing it as something snapped with him. This haunting line is followed by the idea of the Berserker armor. If Guts is clearly unstable and the armor gets out, it will truly be over. There will be no ship to save them. Shirka goes to see Guts where she finds Roderick in panic. It's a disaster. He knows better than anyone having been at sea in such moments before. And like everyone's fears, he shouts to Guts to not do anything rash. I love the never said but heavily implied idea that everyone knows what happened to Guts. They know Casca is gone, but they don't question where she is and why Guts is snapped. It's just that it's all happened. They don't know the specifics, but they know whatever showed up and did it all, it had to have been the very thing against Guts. It took Casca and utterly destroyed him. They understand the weight, which is why they're quiet and in fear. It's just very beautifully presented without saying a single line about it. But in the room, Guts stands trembling. His sword sits across the room. He faces it and backs away, falling as does the sword. They're the same. It's exactly why Guts goes on to say he never put his trust in anything, not a thing, but his sword, as if it was his counterpart. He recalls every moment he shared with the blade till now, Even if nothing else was, the blade was always there. Shirka then connects with Guts via the astral realm. She finds him in a face full of despair, a pained look we've never even gotten close to seeing, all before she views Guts and the swords as memories of battle, it ending with a final look at Griffith, all before a surge of anger. Guts screams, it was all pointless. With this anger, Guts imagines himself falling into an ever-growing dark sea, curling into a ball away from the sword. This is one of the hardest hitting Berserk moments literally ever. Guts has given up on literally everything and finally the blade. The one thing he's had at his side forever, literally since the series started. It's a major moment, as every time we've seen Guts at a low, he has still held on to the sword. As a child, despite disgusting happenings, he had a sword. Traveling through his loneliest years, he held his sword. After the horrific events where he lost everything, he still had a sword. The sword is Guts. It is core to what Berserk is. Yet now, in this moment, Guts has given up on it. And it feels worse when you think on the moment more and more, because who wouldn't give up? Guts got up from everything horrible for Casca. He went on this entire journey for her. On this journey he braved unimaginable horrors, kept his dark temptations away. He healed and accepted others all for it. Something that is very hard for him especially, and in the end he achieved it. Casca came back just for her to be ripped away from him just as fast. And the worst part is, he couldn't do anything. He was utterly powerless. Of course he would give up, because what do you even begin to do here? Like the imagery shows, it is a deep dark ocean, and Guts is at the very bottom of it. And I really hate to say this so early into the video, but it's only going to get more upsetting. Drifting off to another dark section of the world, we find Falconia, where Mule runs up to Sonia stargazing. Though it's then Griffith's commanders return, all before the sun rises and the world tree's branches glow. In the White Hawk's arms is Casca, a sight that is shown alongside a disgusting smile. Casca dreams of being taken away. The last thing she views is Guts, all before waking up. While she thinks of it as a dream, we know it was reality. She's then treated like royalty in Falconia. She's dressed, watches campaigns from high towers, spends time with children in the courtyard, eats huge meals, and is even bathed. Yet it all seems like something's missing. Glimpses of memories appear as reflections in the water, and that night, it all seems to come to a head. Casca screams out as she frantically rushes around. Guards are called and for some strange reason are very ready to subdue her. She fights back in hopes of going back, yet is thrown down before she wakes up. It was a dream. Maybe a dream. She seems to not be sure. Nothing feels real to her, but it would appear the truth of it all is coming to her slowly. We cut away to Griffith's commanders reporting in, calling Casca a caged fledgling that cannot escape. Griffith is silent before he states, "It is east," all as he looks out at the world tree. It would seem he is ready to make his next move amongst its branches again. God, Casca just literally never gets a break. My heart breaks for her so much every single time I write and record one of these videos. She's been tragically taken by the same person who broke her mind, and it would seem she's starting to remember things, and now she can't escape from the person who did those things to her. It's horrible. Though tragically, it makes a lot of sense for Griffith to do this. With the Elfhelm moment, Griffith is fully aware of his transformation into the Moonlight Boy, and it seems like it's something he can't fully control. If it was controllable, well, the second he reached Elfhelm as the boy, he would have just taken control. He had to wait for it to actually run out due to the time distortion. And so think about what the boy has done every single time he's appeared. He went to Casca first, he went to his mother first. And so, by keeping Casca close, when the Moonlight Boy appears, he's able to just keep it all right here in his own castle. He is now able to control the Moonlight Boy part of himself, covering a weakness, seemingly one of his only weaknesses. I also don't really think this has anything to do with Guts, as on the Hill of Swords, way back after he had reincarnated, he said he no longer feels anything for Guts. The reason they met was to test that. It's gone. I doubt that for whatever reason that would have changed since then. I think it's a weakness thing and a weakness thing only. Though, I want to speak about Zod real fast. While the other commanders report to Griffith, Zod stands far back in the shadows, looking down and seemingly in disapproval. Recently and up to now, you could say, oh, the art style is changing, it's due to different people drawing Zod. But this panel here seals it for me. This panel was intentionally placed and drawn this way. Zod has no reason to be shown so specifically and like this, quietly listening, shrouded in the dark, and looking so upset. It builds up the idea he's troubled with Griffith's recent actions. But as of now, this is the last we've seen of Zod, the noble, strength-seeking apostle, and I dare say the next we see of him is him making a critical choice about who he follows. But that's a pretty big stretch. And hey, stealing Casca for what seems like a non-reason for him, I'd be pretty damn upset too. Zod is about honor. He serves Griffith because he won and he doesn't oppose his creators. But Griffith just looks worse and worse. Stealing a girl because he's afraid he's gonna become a child. Stealing a girl whose memories are all messed up. What good, courageous, honorable leader does that? But yeah, pretty crazy time for Griffith and his commanders. All is, he's just not stopping, looking to the World Tree and towards what seems to be his next goal. The East, which I can only assume means the Kushan. Back to the ship leaving Elfhelm, things have calmed slightly. Sherka now taking the chance to perform a ritual to actually seek for Casca. She falls into deep consciousness, following the otherworldly paths till they convene in a single spot. There's only one place it could be, one place with such power. It's the World Tree, Falconia. That is exactly where Casca must be. Deep in the ship, rats scurry and cargo falls. Despite it all, Guts won't move. The Beast of Darkness then takes form, the image of Guts' inner malice. The beast begins to laugh at Guts' despair. Its chains have now been broken with no effort, a way to show Guts is in a beyond dark spot, yet he isn't caring to resist it at all. The beast asks, "You want it, don't you?" And Guts' mind instantly goes to strength. He does. He grabs the blade in a surge of vigor, swinging it down hard, accepting his darkness like a cloak as he finds the power to wield his sword once more. Yet in that moment he imagines Griffith walking along his blade. It's the spitting image of him and Guts' first encounter. There, Griffith completely overpowered him. Things are the exact same as then. There truly is miles between their strength. Though while before Guts was taken in by Griffith, he accepted this as he had nothing else to live for. But here now, he had Casca and everything the journey was about. While Griffith played with his blade both times, he was only powerless before. But now, he's powerless and lost everything. In response to this realization, Guts gets visibly sick. He pukes, repulsed by what's become of himself, falling again and giving up. His Beast of Darkness then cackles on. He can't refuse. As long as he has that brand, he can't refuse. One day, he will yield. He'll take everything negative and put it upon his blade, finally ready to do the unthinkable. But then, the ship's windows are blown open, hooks crack through the ship, smoke rolls into the boat, and Kushan soldiers work to take control of everything. It happens in an instant, all traveling to the lowest level where they find Guts. Everyone is very worried. Provoke Guts and they will have a real beast on their hands. The Kushan can sense this, they fear his blade. Yet when they kick it away, Guts doesn't even react. He allows the men to chain him up with no effort. Though as everyone is in panic, Roderick begins to take note of how weird this is. The Kushan are known for being savages. If they were on their tail, followed it, and waited for the right moment, then they should all be dead. It could have been an instant, quick attack, and there's a small army to do it. Roderick assumes they probably have another purpose, saying it's as if they were just pushed into some strange world, all as a young man walks through the crowd. On a smaller ship nearby, we watch Salat reflect on a fortune. Daiba, the Dark Mage, apparently predicted this moment, yet even Salat has no understanding of what this means for them. They reflect on Griffith. Do they have anything to do with him? It would seem not. Falconia is so distant from this land. It would appear that Guts and Co. are refugees running from the Falcon, a thought they couldn't be any more right about. We then cut to Kushan dragging something from the depths of the ship. It's heavy, dark, but not resisting. And of course, it's Guts. The pain man won't even open his eye. It's a sight that leaves everyone shocked. He is literally just standing there. They all know this attack is nothing to him, but it's as if he's given up. The thought sadly proved as the second the Kushan pull him hard enough, he allows himself to fall straight to the ground. This angers particularly Ishidro, his student of sorts. Get up and fight. This isn't him. The soldiers push Ishidro down for screaming. He's angry to the point of crying, but Guts does nothing. Weirdly enough though, Puck is quiet, like he understands things are gonna be fine. And it's proved as that man we saw earlier take his helmet off, it was indeed Rickert, and he can only realize that it's Guts before him. He shares words with the Kushan before using the fact he knows both languages to communicate. He's surprised to see them, but since they've appeared in Kushan waters, they're going to be taking their vessel. Daiba reflects on the find. This actually couldn't be better for them, and even though Salat is unsure, he knows Daiba's indeed correct. All sit around Guts, looking steadily at his state, one of unending despair, and as the sun rises while he sleeps, all understand things are about to take their biggest turn yet, and at the center of it all is a broken down Guts. With this moment, everything we've seen from the beginning till now of Fantasia has officially come full circle. Of course, watching Griffith establish the world tree alongside traveling on it was all for the moment where Elfhelm fell apart and was destroyed. Griffith taking Casca also does make a lot of sense, as his connection to the Moonlight Boy has been built up forever. The fanbase has been convinced it was his only weakness, me included, and so of course, Griffith would aim to take that under control. Elfhelm was a pretty good break with lots of lore revelations, but if they're in this peaceful magical place and it's all safe for a long time, well, the story isn't gonna move, and so it had to go. I also like the idea Elfhelm implied, that no matter what, no matter where you are in the world or the astral plane, Griffith is going to find a way. He is truly that all-powerful. It's a pretty big part of what makes Guts' internal struggle valuable, as Griffith at any point can swoop in and do something to his precious things. I liked it and understand why Elfhelm was destroyed, even if I don't love the fallout with its characters. We've also been seeing Rickert's tale in the background. He went to Falconia to view the result of Griffith's return, yet couldn't accept it, and he went on his own journey alongside the Kushan. He didn't know what his true goal was, he just knew it wasn't in Griffith's world. The choice has resulted in this moment, where both major players of Fantasia finally unite, ready to take this arc into its next act. And yes, while I will say some of this feels like it's moving fast, like I would have loved more reactions about Guts' state, I will say I'm loving where the story is going at this current point. It feels like a great concluding point to this first part of Fantasia. But of course, we're not done, there's still half of this video to go. So let's continue. Guts dreams. He's been swept away through a vortex of magic, yet as the wind swirls, a figure appears. It's Shirka. She descends down and grabs his hand. It opens his eyes, but then she lets go and Guts opens his eyes into a dungeon. He doesn't resist, barely questions the dream, and lowers his head. The other time we saw Guts in a dungeon, the scene was illustrated with brightness, and where before Guts was able to keep himself, being kind to the spirit that appeared, here it's the opposite. It's dark, he won't even raise his head, and even trying to be kind is the last thing we'd honestly expect. The dream Guts had is odd too. I think it's kinda setting up a full circle moment. It showcases the truth that Guts has a clear astral connection with Shirka, and while she comes and grabs his hand, he doesn't try to hold on. I think this is showing that connection has been severed, not out of hate, but rather Guts giving up on it all. I imagine eventually reigniting that connection will be very important. It's gonna be a scene just like this one. And Shirka's role she kinda plays throughout this arc so far, well, it highlights this truth. Though we then cut away to Rickert asking the question, why is Guts locked up? And Salat answers honestly, he's very dangerous, they've fought in the past, and so they can't allow him to roam due to safety issues. Daiba then appears, asking them to follow him towards Shirka and all the others on the ship. Shirka apparently hasn't woken up despite it being days. She slipped into the deepest layers of the astral world to seek out Casca, or at least look for Casca at the very least. It's very strange that she's down like Guts, but it's also a pretty scary thought. It's then Roderick questions what's next, and Salat silences him. It's okay, they were rough before, but now they have something to speak about. He understands that everything they know dissolved in a single night, as if it was all part of a big fairy tale. He too understands what it's like to lose a home. I like this, it's a small page yet one that does wonders to establish trust. It tells the cast and us the reader that despite being taken in by this mysterious group, they do share a connection on the touchiest subjects, and hopefully they'll actually be treated well. Daiba is surprised Shirka was able to connect with Guts, referencing how Guts was the only one equal to him in a battle. It surprises Rickert. Remember, Rickert knew Guts was strong, but to face the general of an army basically ruling the world at that time, better yet at an equal level, well, he realizes Guts is beyond strong. Though it must also make Rickert think, what has happened to Guts to make him the way he is? Daiba then asks about the numerous witches from Elfhelm. May they follow him? This request is granted, leaving Roderick shocked. Yes, they've been granted safety. What does giving people over to Daiba mean? Salat states that simply they're not travelers anymore. They're refugees, so they must serve in their military, as customs dictate. That is all. The scene then moves to Rickert finally approaching Ishidro and in turn Puck. He knew it was Puck, and he's happy he's still alongside Guts. But what happened to Casca? They went on their grand quest all together for her. And, the more important question in the moment, what has even become of Guts? Puck doesn't answer. He is the quietest he's ever been, and Rickert seems to get the hint. It had to have been Griffith, but why? We cut back to Roderick. In truth, the Kushan are ready to go to war, and they know with whom. The Hawk of Light in Falconia. They will war against Griffith. They state he has the power to change the world, literally change its fundamentals, and he ever grows his territory, now even encroaching onto Kushan land. Salat takes this as Griffith fearing what lies beyond his reason. He fears what isn't demonic like him. It's exactly why he wiped out Elfhelm. And so, while they're in the unknown, they must take this chance to attack and destroy the Hawk of Light. So the next part of this arc is clearly a war, and as fate would have it, our entire cast has been enveloped into it. Enveloped into a war against this being they've been subtly resisting. Yet this is all contrasted by Guts' despair. They're going to war against the one he hates more than anyone, yet he's the only one completely out of it. And so while you'd expect the next few chapters be a calm before the storm, let's get Guts back into top form, the opposite instantly happens. Our cast wanders through the Kushan city. Things are different than what they thought, but it would also appear the Kushan aren't as bad as we've been led to believe, as they've allowed the usually feared mages to take root in this land as if it was nothing. I like that there's care towards simple things like them having different cultures, as they're a lot more open to magic. As everyone scatters, Rickert reflects on Salat's declaration of war, fearing that it's far too soon. Everyone is going to be swallowed up by Griffith's tide. And considering how everyone feels super shaky, we of course had to agree with him. We then face the current Kushan Emperor, putting forth the question, how have they survived so successfully? Ganishka, who has basically enrolled the world, was toppled very quick after all. And to Salat, this is simple. Their people have long been thrust into battle. It's a normal thing for them. This reminds Roderick of where they truly stand. It's easy to look at Kushan as terrible due to bloody wars, but the wars are part of survival. In reality, they're a human fighting the same way he has. The meeting with the king is about Griffith, specifically Salat's thoughts on taking him down, considering he was a major player in the West and he's seen it all for himself. Salat is then objected. He belongs to an assassin clan, so he should be ignored. Yet another man then stands. This is a trying time. The only thing they need to focus on is the future, uniting the Kushan as one, all to bring down the ultimate threat. Where they come from doesn't matter. Daiba is then allowed to speak, describing all the magical, unimaginable events that led them this way. But conveniently, he leaves out his sins in the dark arts. In response, Salat jumps forward. He has a simple request: make him general of the entire Kushan military. The Falcon of Light is their biggest foe ever. Only those who are well versed can stand. And again, the man from before protests. Yet before long, he stumbles over his words. His back begins to transform. He explodes into a magical ball of carnage. Rakshas has appeared from his corpse. War times have truly begun, and Farnese can sense the disturbance. Though, rather than fear it like she normally would, she stands up ready for action. It would seem Shirka being out of commission has forced her to step up. Guts can also sense this. His brand explodes due to the Apostle's appearance, and while he's clearly in pain, he does nothing. As the Apostle stands before all, it's quickly revealed to the Kushan heads this is Rakshas, the first exiled Baki Raka, a dark stain on their history that has now become one of Griffith's apostles. Weirdly, Rakshas doesn't seem to be here for Griffith though, speaking as if Rickert really did kill him in Falconia. Somehow he's lived and will now use everything he has to cause chaos. Yeah, this kinda seems to be it too. Any ounce of character Rakshas was implied to have is kinda lost now. Still, his presence signals a dark twister of sinister astral energy. The ground is flooded with dark ooze, it birthing demonic creatures that attack all. Farnese rushes to the scene, where Serpico quickly appears to protect her. She concludes that Quaifloth is manifesting once again. Daiba too has concluded this, but he asks, how? It can't be just from one apostle. There's only one power that can summon this many demons. It has to be Guts' brand. The city erupts into chaos as Rakshas and Salat fight, all as we cut away to Guts thinking, yes, this will do, leaving us with a single thought. Chaos has erupted and death is all around. Could it be that Guts is welcoming death? He must know what's going on, and we've seen that he's given up. If he attracts demons of this magnitude by simply existing and doesn't want to exist anymore, he must see it as time to die, which is just horrible. In the city, everyone fights back against the threats as Salat screams for Daiba to broadcast his voice. And in the chaos, everybody in the city hears him. They are being attacked by the Hawk. It is a surprise attack on their people, but they've fought many wars. They are Kushan. Draw your swords. At the same time, Farnese finishes a protection spell, covering everything in light and speeding up efforts to protect the people. Everyone with this message and newfound light have the courage to take up arms and defend themselves. They can fight back, even against apostles, as Salat now is Rakshas on the run. At first, he appears to actually be escaping, but then a new truth becomes apparent. Rakshas fears the light. He needs darkness. And so in darkness he senses Guts. He truly is the darkest one here now. He rampages towards the swordsman awaiting death. Rounding the corner as Guts stares him down, stating, yes, there it is at last. To Guts, he seems to welcome death. Yet to Rakshas, he will use that death-involved darkness as a power. He shatters the bars with ease, standing like a devil before Guts, when he calls his angel of death. As Rakshas leans in, Guts stares death down, closes his eyes, and accepts his fate. Yet from the back, Salat executes Rakshas, cutting his throat out and dropping the beast to the floor. It no longer moves, dissolves into a pool of black, and leaves its mask behind as it means nothing anymore. Salat looks to Guts, who now houses a face full of despair. It provokes him, and he grabs Guts with rage. Why? Why does he just sit there? In this moment, the rest of the Bakiraka appear and ready to rush Salat to safety, yet all he can do is scream at Guts. Why does he welcome death? Answer him. But all he does is sit there, more defeated than ever before, and now seeing his only chance as lost. Guts, it's just so sad. Doing this entire video series, describing in depth his entire journey, and getting to this point, it's just horrible. I think I speak for a lot of us when I say we never thought Guts would fall to this point. It just pain. Pain. But with this, Rakshas, I really would have liked to learn more about this apostle. But despite that, things really got going in a good direction here. The selection of chapters showing the kickoff for this war were great. I think the new Berserk team is really getting in the groove of things. It's pretty amazing. We get to see everyone in action. All of our cast members were given screen time that was well deserved. We even get to see some cool growth in some, like Farnese acting more independently. I also want to point out Puck, who might be having the biggest glow up of all time. Not only has he gone back to a design resembling his OG design, but he's actually being used how I love Puck being used, how he was originally used. Right now it's subtle, but he's placed in panels to contrast the darkness and to help everyone. I imagine with this close connection to Guts, he's also bound to become pretty important to Guts' new darkness. All in all, while a bit of a rocky start, picking up the pieces of what was left, it is now coming around really well. And I will say it's only getting better. The next few chapters have potential to be some of the best moments in Berserk if done right. In the aftermath, Rickert rushes to check on someone. It's Erika. Like how Guts was on a journey for Casca, Rickert was on one for Erika. And the girl now fears. Will they be forced to flee their new home? Flee from war again? It's just a sad sight. We then cut to Shirka. She still isn't woken up. In reality, she's still deep into the astral realm, looking far into Falconia to search for Casca. Hopefully nothing has happened to her. A triple heartbreak would suck. Guts, Casca, then Shirka? No thank you. Though despite the victory and the fact our cast seems to be okay, everything else has fallen to ruin. Kushan morale couldn't be lower. Even leaders of their army are in dread. It affects Farnese. Her magic wasn't enough to save the day. Roderick then compliments her, and she blushes, meaning he is finally getting somewhere with her after like 100 chapters. Good. It's then Salat is surprised. They've come. And what he seems to speak about is Kushan monks. But from the crowd of them comes Guts, still dazed and down. This is a very haunting panel, as it's fully on display how bad Guts is doing. We've known of the mental part, but look at him. He's fractions smaller. This dude likely isn't eating nor drinking, and without a doubt he hasn't been training. He is doing horrible, and I've said it a million times, but it hurts to see. Still, this sight is surprising to everyone. Why is Guts here? They look to Daiba. They aren't monks, they're sorcerers. Likely practitioners of dark arts like Daiba. Everything has been happening so quick, and now it's accelerating. Guts is apparently being warped into some scheme. Roderick then speaks up, but he's instantly silenced. These sorcerers are so important even royalty can't approach. It implies that this is a very big moment. In desperation, Farnese then tries to reach Guts, yet all she views is blankness. Guts is gone. It's as if he is a husk and nothing more. Ishidro then speaks up. While Roderick was silenced, he won't be, prompting Daiba to explain. An immense calamity has come. Many are dead. Guts? He isn't a monk. Rather, he's a criminal burdened by karma. While he is clearly lost and isn't doing much for himself, it was indeed him who caused the city to be painted with blood. Daiba has shown Guts to be the one responsible, and in truth, we can't deny that he's right, as he explains the brand. and in response the king erupts into fear. Guts being killed is risky, who knows the outcome, so toss him far away, chain him to the end of the world. All erupt in fearful agreeance, a sight Salat reflects on. The brand truly is a devil in itself. All his guts isn't a worthwhile war asset anymore. Still, Salat has the feeling something odd is happening. He reflects on the scene with Ganishka, how Daiba had a man-made Beylit that caused hell itself. While before he had no idea of what it meant, now he does. So for now he'll follow the Dark Mage, but this time he's ready for anything. The scene leaves off with our two distant party members. Shirika is like the sleeping dead, far off in the astral realm, hopefully making great strides, while Guts is being guided in shackles to the end of the world. One thing that has been a favorite with Studio Gaga's Berserk is Daiba. They love this dude so much. Originally set up as a side villain for Ganishka, he was reintroduced as a character who felt like he needed something new to do after Ganishka. And it seems we are seeing that new path. Studio Gaga wanted us to see what's still left for Daiba, but I guess we never realized nobody said that had to be a good path. Daiba is a dark mage. He is way closer to rituals of demon kind than say like Farnese's protection spell. If he wanted to do something bad to Guts, well, he would be the first person who would be able to do something bad to Guts. And now, he is seemingly crafting a situation to get Guts to go away. The question is, why? Is this something to do with the man-made Beylit like it was before? Does he truly just want to remove Guts in an effort to negate the brand's effects? Or could Daiba have something even more sinister planned? Guts treks on and on with the Kushan. His face remains dead, as if he's not even there, like a ghost is walking his body for him. And if we're going to assume he still wants to die, well, this would make him a dead man walking. Salat and his group watch on. For whatever reason, the place Daiba guides them to is only accessible by high priests. It is the sacred land, the interment grounds. Still, they follow and land behind the group, the likes of which Puck and Ishidro also follow. The noise prompts Daiba to turn. They have no idea where they go, as he states in his head, the folly of youth. The statement, folly of youth, usually refers to when a kid does something dumb. You'd say that dumb act was a folly of youth. With Daiba saying it, it's likely referring to Guts' recent actions that have led him here, perhaps highlighting they were lessons he needed to learn. Maybe Daiba isn't all that bad. Under the warm sun, the group soon reached some sort of ruin. Old ruins with a circular building in the center. Daiba is then asked, what is it? Him responding that it's a holy burial ground, one long forgotten, a stupa. Stupa is a word used to describe sacred Buddhist places often used for meditation and the sort. The key idea I seem to see a lot when it comes to them is that they're basically places for reaching enlightenment. Again, maybe Daiba isn't all that bad. Daiba walks forward and searches along the structure for something. Soon, with the chant, an old door reveals itself. As Guts walk near the entrance, the Bakiraka push open the heavy stone doors. It's emphasized how difficult of a thing this is to do. Whatever this monument is, it must be of the utmost importance. With the doors open, Guts is then surrounded by guards and pushed in by himself to the surprise of everyone. Salat is the first to react. He scoffs. It's foolishness. Guts will be sealed into the stone to rot and die. Ishidro has the same thought. He falls to the floor as Puck watches on. Daiba oversees this entire moment. Guts goes in. No, rather, he passes on. The monks then chant and the doors slowly close. Puck stares forward. Guts. And strangely, Guts turns around for Puck, glancing at him as the doors close. Guts has been sealed away at the end of the world as it was stated. And while most seem to believe that it's over, this is where he shall rot and die, it's clear that's not actually what we're meant to assume. Daiba got Guts into this situation. It's completely overseen by him. And now he's the one using words like, Folly of Youth, Stupa, and most recently, Passing On. I think it all leads to the idea that Guts is about to face the mistakes of his youth. He's about to face enlightenment, and so going inside is like passing on to a new path. It seems like the purpose of bringing Guts here wasn't actually to banish him to the end of the world, rather it was to make him face himself at the end of the world, so that he can come back to the real world and do way better. And the outcome of this process being light, I think is actually highlighted by something, that being Puck. Guts showed only one sign of being mentally there this entire walk, that being when he turned towards Puck, and I think this is for a reason, a symbolic way to say Guts is delving into the darkness and away from the light. Puck has always been an icon of light for Berserk. The reason his character was literally made was to contrast from Guts' darkness. But in this moment, Guts acknowledges this light. He acknowledged that it was still there inside of him by turning the Puck. And so I can only assume he will return with that light. He will find his light inside of this darkness. As of now, we have one final chapter showcasing Guts in this chamber. And so, let's check it out. Guts stands in the darkness, a shell of his former self. He can't see anything before him. He puts his arm out, and there's nothing. He falls hard. He stumbles up for a second, almost appearing as if his mind has been shocked awake, perhaps highlighting that this is truly some sort of place of introspection, like the darkness is imploring him to look into himself. Yet Guts realizes he's truly in the dark, nothing is here, and so he falls, lying flat on his back. One thing to note is that Guts doesn't curl up or anything like we've seen him do before. He lies flat on his back, as if he's welcoming what comes next. And with it being stated death before, perhaps Guts really is intending to welcome death and rot here on the edge of the world. On the outside, Slot and Daiba stand, Slot asking, what is happening? Daiba has no idea. This is a peculiar sight. Even his dark arts cannot pierce the inside of the room. Clearly stating to us, if you weren't sure by now, this is not a normal building. It is indeed astral in some way. He states inside is a void, and in that void, what madness might its darkness bring forth? In darkness without sight, without sound, there is one thing to do, to look into yourself. Inside, Guts lies flat, but he's disturbed, opening his eyes to watch the ceiling transform into a dark sludge he's seen many times with demon kind. Perhaps seeing it as a way out, a fatal demise as it's nearly been many times, he puts his arm towards it, yet instead it's as if he's sucked into an ocean of pure darkness. Guts states, finally, he's welcoming death. And like it said when you die, memories flash in his mind. Griffith and Casca during the Golden Age, and when Griffith took Casca, two big moments of his life. As he views these, he's pulled under the water, fully submerging into a shell of sorts, where now in the foreseeable future, he sits in complete darkness. And that ends what we currently have for Studio Gaga's Berserk chapters. What I thought started pretty rough actually picked up the pace pretty fast, and right now the intrigue for new chapters couldn't be any higher. Though I'm not going to spend my time here comparing because comparison is the enemy of joy. I'm here to enjoy Berserk, as I keep saying. So how about we discuss some fun ideas for what comes next, because best believe me, I am dying for a new chapter. The big question is what happens to Guts next, and I think we can all assume this is a sort of self-introspection moment, but how exactly is that moment going to happen? I'd like to mention that Guts has had a Beylit at his side for a long time now. I don't know if it's with him in the moment, but he has had one. It's mentioned by many characters if it's his or not, and this question is seemingly never answered. It very well could be his. The Beylit is a tool to meet with the God Hand in a moment they so choose, one where its bearer is encapsulated in darkness. And if there was ever a moment where Guts would be in that moment, it's now. I'm not saying he's going to become a demon, but perhaps Guts is going to have some kind of encounter with the dark gods that began this for him. Though on the other hand, the idea I personally lean towards is that this is a moment where it's truly only going to be Guts. It'll be his final hurdle he has to take on himself. Whatever happens to Guts, it'll be him, because he needs to complete yet another struggle on his own. Guts as of now has forsaken his sword. His purpose was to protect his precious things. His whole character was centralized around this idea. An idea he never let go of the sword for, as it was a means to this end. You can say Guts' entire worth was based around what he could do with the sword. Yet he's given up on it now. If Guts is going to have a moment of introspection without the sword, it'd result in a Guts who actually looks into himself for once. Not just what he can do with the sword, and who knows what kind of dark place that would bring him. The point I'm trying to put forward is that it's him and only him in this moment. There's no meetings with others like Griffith, no rescue of the soul like Farnese and Shirka. Here it's Guts and only Guts. It's a tale as old as time that when a person reaches their darkest depths, they rise from the ashes like a phoenix more powerful than ever before. And considering how much Guts has done for others, I think it's time he gets a moment like that to save himself. This would also be a perfect parallel with Griffith, where he lost everything, he rose bigger than ever before. But of course, since we're looking at Guts and he and Griffith are clearly different, he would earn this rebirth through helping others, whereas Griffith took a cop-out with demon power. It would also be an ultimate screw you moment at a perfect time, as we seemingly head into a final war with that Griffith. A war that seems to be the finale of Berserk. But with that, I think I'm about ready to wrap up this Berserk video series. It's been a huge journey, and funny enough, this video here was the point of it all. It was a chance to finally read these chapters as to why I started a video series on Berserk. I grew up with Berserk, as I bet a lot of us did. While I definitely didn't fully understand it when I was young, and I probably don't understand it the best now, in a way my understanding and love for this series only grew as I did. Berserk became super close to me for this very reason. It's something I've known forever. And so when Miura passed, of course I was hit hard. It was the first time I think I ever realized when it came to something I loved, I'd never get a proper finish. I don't know how exactly to put these feelings into words, but hopefully you get what I mean by that. The only reason I did end up reading 364 was because of the final page. It was a weird send-off feeling that I just couldn't avoid, as that page was literally everywhere when it came out. And I just couldn't avoid the truth of this last chapter. It was the final one Miura truly worked on. But with that, life went on. Berserk came back, but I didn't, and life went on. I never did come back, and I think it's because I just didn't want to face it. Face the idea that someone's finishing the series, but they're not actually the one who started the series. I don't know, I think I was perhaps scared it was gonna ruin it for me. But I think it didn't matter if it was ruined. I think I was just scared. I was just scared of what was. I was scared I would lose the series again. I was scared that for some reason my enjoyment wouldn't be the same, that it would be impacted, that it would be gone. And maybe that was a silly thought. And ultimately, that silly thought, that fear, that hesitation resulted in this video series I'm sure most of you have watched to completion, at least I hope. If I'm gonna go back and reread Berserk, love it in all the ways I always have, then I should make a video series for it, hold myself accountable, and finish it while making a love letter to the series of sorts. And now I've finally finished the manga through. Well, at least at the moment. And honestly, the result was amazing. It's been amazing, and I am enjoying these new chapters a lot. I can't wait to see where Berserk goes from here. But with this, thank you so much for watching this video and the video series. I will be honest, I don't think I'm gonna make that many Berserk videos from here on out, if any. Honestly, I'm saying it now, don't expect them. Writing about Berserk, especially the whole series in depth as I have, is heavy and it kind of sucks. It takes a lot longer and it's emotional. I do think I'll do some re-editing, some compiling of things, and put all my videos together of Berserk into one big 10-hour video. But other than that, don't expect many more, if any. Maybe I'll do one for the new chapters when they come out, but I honestly doubt that. That's like a 20% chance. I think maybe I'm just done with Berserk for now. It's been a good few months. All in all, I hope this video in this series was everything you wanted from a Berserk series. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I have. But with that, thank you so much. Bye.